those of you that don't know Jay, so quick recap of the blinds.com story. So you were one of the early entrants into the internet. It started as a bit of an experiment. And I love the idea. So Jay had and his wife had this blind store, right? Which was a physical place you could go and buy interior decor. And when they first went on the internet, the calls would go to the manager at the blind store, who would then call Jay, who was inevitably on the road doing something with customers, and he would say, "Oh yes, I'm the customer service operation for whatever the name
right,
was.
Right.
It was what was the name? It was something brain.com.
No Brainer Blinds.
No Brainer Blinds. That's right.
That was the first name, because we wanted to make buying blinds and shades a no-brainer. Keep it simple. So they would call into the showroom and they'd say, all of our customer service representatives were busy. So they'd call me on the phone, and I'd pull off the side of the road in between my appointments, and I'd call them from this giant phone with my order pad on the front desk, on the front seat of my car. And that's where I would do it for a few years. I mean, this was not minimum viable product, MVP. This was HVP, hardly viable product. It was like nothing.
But it worked. And what's fascinating to me is, I mean, this is in the days of like dial-up internet and you know, the kind of Wall Street big phone to show you like how evil the guy was. They had this huge like 2-pound phone that he would use.
Exactly.
And then you decided to devote more energy to this, and so opened up a little office, which I'm recalling that your staff had to go on down this alley between the blind shop and the office, which
rat infested alley.
Eh? Sorry,
yeah. A rat infested alley. Yes, that was our second office. The first being, of course, my garage.
As would be, of course, important for all.
It's supposed to be that way.
But then over the years, you kind of hit on this rhythm, I'll almost call it, using these 4 values as a way of bringing people with unique talents in, and then really leveraging your ideas from them into what became a growth juggernaut. And as you said, you beat Amazon, you beat Home Depot, you beat Lowe's. I mean, you guys nailed it in the blinds business. And I just think it's fascinating to see how that, and I think it's the combination, right? So it's the evolve, which is the focus on learning, the experimentation, which is how do we learn new things in a very disciplined way. And, you've said yourself that you're not a big risk taker. No. And yet, when you look at all that your company's done, looked at in a certain lens, it could be incredibly risky. I mean, you made a few bet the company kind of moves and stuff, but you would say no, at any given time, the risk was manageable. Like the risks that we looked at were manageable. And I wonder if you could expand on that, because when I talk to people about discovery and discovery-driven growth and doing new things, one of the immediate reactions I get is, oh, that's scary. That's uncertain. I can't do that.
Well, there is nothing to be scared about when the downside risk is something that you can live with. So every time I made a move, I looked at the downside risk. Even in an acquisition, I'd say, what is the worst that could happen? What if all the assumptions that we made are untrue? What would we be left with? And how much is it costing us for that? And if that was acceptable, I moved forward. And obviously everything worked out better than downside risk. But that's how I made all decisions. I never bet the farm. Some decisions were very quick and incremental, and most of them were like that. And occasionally you made some stair-step moves, but always measured and always asymmetric, so that the downside risk was much lower than the upside potential.
Right. And the academic phrase that would capture this is thinking in terms of options, right? So I'm going to make a small bet today that buys me access to a big upside, even if I can't guarantee that upside. But if it doesn't work out, I know exactly what I bet, right? And exactly. So I can move forward with confidence knowing that.